Okay, hello everybody. This is Matt Camp. We're in week 4 of Introduction to Music Production, and I've chosen using Ableton Live and the compressor. So the compressor right now is on the master channel because that's where we're going to compress off, because we're really not doing any type of mixing here. It's just one track, and it for me it sounds a little bit muddy, and using a compressor I'm finding actually cleans it up a little bit. So let's take a look at what we got going on here. So you have your basic input part here, where you have the threshold level here, and you have the output level here, as well as the gain reduction. It'll show you in here when it starts to actually work. It has different settings for peak, RMS, and expand. I use peak for that. Makeup actually boosts the signal when it does a compression piece of it, and for the purposes of this tutorial it's probably not necessary, because this particular song, if you look at it, it's in the red. So I'm sure whoever mastered this had all the intention of putting a clean mix, but I try to keep all of my masters out of the red. So we're going to use the compressor and try to clean this up and get this into the green. So there's also this setting here for the logarithmic, and this is a little more familiar to what Loudon was showing us, and this is obviously the point, that the knee, so to speak, and it's set at 6 dB. You can change that to whatever. We'll leave it for that for right now. And if I press play on the song, you can see right now it's not doing anything, and we are definitely in the red. If I change the ratio, move that to 2, close enough, you can see now we're definitely in the green. Both my attack and my release are set all the way down. And so you can see it's definitely doing some degree of a job here. Now if I do this little thing here, this will show you exactly how much time it's spending or what it's actually affecting. So it's doing a pretty good job here. Obviously if I change the attack, it's going to lessen it. Right there is about where I find it to be about as clean as possible. After that, it starts to go back into its normal muddy type of sound. I mean, it's not a bad mastering, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely it's definitely cleaner right about here. At least when he told us to listen, this is about where I find it to be the most clean and providing separation. We're definitely still underneath the green. We're not dropping it so low that it's cutting out a lot of it. So right about here's the definition I find to be about as clean as it can be. And then of course we have the release, and if I start to change that and make it so it takes longer and longer and longer for it to get back, you can start to hear it mellow out again, and it gets lower because it's just never getting a chance to come back from the attack, so it's dropping the volume quite a bit. So we don't want that. We want to go back to right about there, I think is where I like it. Now if we go here, you can definitely see that. Now we can change the threshold on this. We could drop it. And then now you hear it's getting even quieter because it's compressing even more, and then we can change the ratio so it really starts to flatten out. You could actually use this as a complete mute if you want, bring it all the way down and it just disappears altogether. You can tell gain reductions all the way down. We don't want that, of course. Let's put it back where it was, because I kind of like the way it sounded. There, let's put the ratio at 2. So I think we've done a pretty good job of making this sound a little bit better than it was. Now we have this makeup button. I'll press it, and you'll see it pushes this back in the red, and you'll see it actually goes above. So what it's doing is it's boosting for the cut of the other sounds. It's boosting the rest around it, so it animates it more. But right now that's not what I'm looking for. So we'll turn makeup off. Obviously dry and wet is kind of similar to saying, okay, so that's no compression, even though we have the compressor turned on. You can see it's doing its job, but because dry and wet is at 0, then you're not getting anything come through. So put that back. Leave everything else the same. Now we have the auto button that Loudon said told us to stay away from, and I typically do. And then we also have sidechain and EQ compression. We haven't covered EQ compression, but sidechain, typically when you're doing different mixes and you have a beat track, vocals usually get lost in the beat track, so you want to bring the vocals out when the beat hits and vice versa. Thanks, Apple. I think that's about everything that I can think of I could show you for this one. I really am enjoying this course, and especially this particular segment, because songs like this, where they weren't quite where I wanted it to be and they were a little bit too loud, it's really shown me some good ways of cleaning them up. So I hope it worked for you. We'll be talking to you next week, probably.